Jai Guruji Auntie, good morning.
Good morning, Jai Guruji. So we are now on chapter 39 and it is Divine Messages. The sacred and special relationship of a guru and devotee is an eternal one. Once a lady on entering Guruji's darbar said, Guruji, today I'm introducing you to new Sangat, which Guruji promptly replied, I have met her before in another lifetime. Profound are Guruji's words, and it will take us forever to fathom the depth of each of his statements. Since we have taken many births in various forms, we are unaware of how many lifetimes of search have finally brought us to his lotus feet. The reward for that search is being in his darbar, sitting and listening to the Shabad Gurbani, partaking the Langar Prasad that heals us at every level, seen and unseen, tangible and intangible. All of this while we imbibe his supreme aura in the temple that he himself erected for his entire Sangat. This experience takes us deeper and deeper into the realm of faith and purifies our soul, our thoughts, words, and deeds. Once our lives have been aligned, then Guruji takes us on a higher spiritual ladder. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਮੈਂ ਅੰਦਰ ਦੇ ਬਰਤਨ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਫ਼ ਕਰਨਾ, then he makes us progress uh, onto our spiritual journey. What we all need to be careful of, however, is not to ever take him for granted. It is not a given that he will keep us in his fold if we do not make efforts to reform words and actions. Guruji used to say, you take one step towards me and keep taking that step, and I will do the rest. The efforts are ours. Mehnat meri, rahmat teri. Mehnat is to go to the temple, to watch our behavior, not to be judgmental, not to hurt anyone's feelings, but to be gracious and to deepen our connectivity with him and him only. No social networking, no meet and greet. His Sangat must be respected as they belong to him, but the focus must always be him. Karma is created on 4 levels: what we think, speak, feel, and do. We are unknowingly creating good and bad karmas all the time, all day long. When the going is good, we must thank Guruji for the gift of good times. And when things are bad, then we must thank him for the gift of the life lesson. So nothing is bad, it's a lesson. Shukrana, Guruji, at all times is ever important for further spiritual enhancement. So the so-called new Sangat are experiencing Guruji's grace and omnipresence and are strengthening their connectivity through the power of faith. With the passage of time, they become more involved and evolved in their dedication to Guruji. Doesn't matter whether they've met him or they've just met him in the blink of an eye. The intent needs to be pure while visiting the Mandir, as he knows with what intention all of us are coming to him. वो भाव देखते हैं हमारा. So surrender is a big word with a bigger meaning, and in time he makes us understand how it gets translated into our practical lives. There are no labels in Guruji's darbar, but we create them. Purani Sangat, Nayi Sangat. There's no such thing for Guruji. All are equal, all are new, and all are his. Satsang by Hitesh Kapoor, quote unquote, I am Hitesh Kapoor from Punjabi Bagh, New Delhi. I was suffering from a disc problem in the lower back from 2009. Having visited several neuro and orthopedic surgeons, I was suffering from an ongoing intolerable pain in my back that was traveling to my right leg. This sensation could be likened to a hot needle being poked in my leg. At times, it was very demanding for me to even get out from the bed, and I was not able to bend. It was an ordeal for me to even pull up my trousers, as all the physicians that I had consulted advised me not to bend at all. The problem escalated by the day. I took a decision to undergo the surgery, microlumbar discectomy. in Fortis Hospital, Shalimar Bagh, in Jan 2011. Before going for my operation, my doctor advised me for an MRI. There was a marriage in our family, so I booked my operation for the day after the wedding. My mother, meanwhile, had been going to Guruji's temple since 2010, as one of our neighbors, Niru Auntie, had told us about him. My mother told me to accompany her. And in the first week of Jan, I went to the temple and had Guruji's Langar Prasad. All the while, however, I was quite skeptical. After 2 or 3 days, I felt that the pain was becoming less. Hence, I felt that the operation might be a risky venture. I decided to consult another doctor, taking a second opinion, which is always advisable. And after a week, the doctor checked me and told me that the disc, which was initially touching my veins, had moved to an empty area. And that is why I was having lesser pain. Of course, I cancelled the surgery and was able to enjoy the marriage functions with minimal pain. Subsequently, I began going to the temple every Thursday for Langar Prasad and fasted for 16 days. Not that that's important, because I was also fasting one time and Guruji said, "Koi lord nahi hai, tu itthe aani hai, itthe sab kuch hai." One day while I was sitting inside the temple, a voice said, "Tu 4 Thursday aana hai, te main tenu theek kar devanga. You are to come to me for 4 Thursdays and then I will heal you." I told my mother about this. She asked for a large photograph of Guruji from Niru Auntie. And it was Monday morning, around 4 a.m. I was sleeping when I heard someone calling out to me, "Chal ut, uncle, हाज़री lag de, मैं ही हैगा, डर नहीं, मैनू हाज़री de. Don't fear, it's me calling you." It happened for around 15 minutes, and then I decided to worship the photograph of Guruji in our mandir. I went back to sleep thereafter, and the same thing happened again. Guruji spoke again to ask me about giving Hazri. 2 Thursdays had gone by, and my pain was abating. I was always a fitness freak, but due to the disc problem, I was not able to go to the gym and neither jog. It was the 3rd Thursday, and while sitting with Guruji, a voice said, "Tu agle Thursday, 2 baar Friday noon jogging, te ya gym zarur jayega. On Friday after Thursday, you must begin either jogging or gym." I kept that in mind, and after the last Thursday, I returned from work at 6:30, fell asleep, and again the same voice said, "Uncle, ut chal jogging, te ya chal gym. Aaj nahi gaya, te kadi bhi nahi cha payega. So go to the gym today or jog, otherwise you won't be able to stand." I went jogging and all went well. It was the last Monday of my 16-Monday fast when I slept on Sunday night. After an hour or so, I realized that someone was massaging the affected area with a thumb the entire night. It was like someone was healing my back. I felt much better the following morning. I have always been now free from physical suffering for the past year. The quality of my life has been enhanced. I'm a devout believer. Now Guruji, the Supreme One, who can rid us of all ailments, be it physical, emotional, financial, or spiritual. So there you go. And sometimes the Sangat do hear Guruji speak to them, and therefore, how can they be old and new? Guruji is connecting to each one of us in his own way. So chapter 40, paralysis prevented. Happiness lives inside a room. It has a door. The door has a key, and the key is faith. If you lose the faith, happiness can never be found. By this time, it was March 2012, and I was thoroughly soaked in Delhi satsangs. I had engaged my mind in making calligraphy making calligraphy, Guruji, and I engaged my soul in regularly attending satsangs and soaking the aura of the temple. My fatigue, however, was getting progressively worse, and I noticed unwanted flesh around my waistline. With His grace, however, I was still glowing. I was meeting new Sangat by the dozens, and it was refreshing to witness the new mindset of the people coming as they recognized Guruji's temple and his philosophy as food for the soul. 2012 is a year when there was a major shift in consciousness, and an incalculable amount of people were connecting to His infinite grace. Many souls were being purified as a balance needs to be created between the good and the bad in the world. Guruji gently leads us all on the right path, and the unmeasured joy He brings enables us to live our lives with conviction, courage, and commitment to Him. He gives us wisdom, purpose, and meaning to our lives. The human life is truly a rare gift, and He teaches each soul to find the light before the darkness of Kali grips us in its tight claws. His grace is unbounded as He blesses the individual on his or her arrival at the temple. As the individual bows before Him with an open heart and mind, Guruji takes him or her into His fold. The journey of the soul then begins, and never is a devotee left unshielded. Once we are in Guruji's fold, we must know that we are protected at all times. He alters our priorities and attitudes and sets us on a path that is divine and eternally blissful. Such is Guruji's love for all of us. It was Priya's birthday in March, and we held a small but blessed satsang at my place in Panchshir in Delhi. The Sangat enthusiastically shared their miraculous experiences, and here Vandana then introduced herself to me, and with love and gratitude in her heart, she shared her satsang. Satsang by Vandana Bel Dua. Quote unquote, I went to the Bade Mandir for the first time in 2010. Though I couldn't connect to him for the first couple of times, I only went because of the simple reason that I was fond of the place and was getting peace of mind. I worshipped Sai Baba of Shirdi. So for me, to connect to Guruji was difficult. Hence, I stopped going for a while. But one fine day, when I attended Geetanti Satsang, I got connected with Guruji, and then there was no looking back. I have been going to Bade Mandir regularly now since April 2011, every Sunday and Monday. It was 29th February 2012 on Mahashivratri when I was doing seva at the Bade Mandir. I was unwell. I informed one auntie that I wouldn't be able to make it, but I still wanted to visit Bade Mandir to seek Guruji's blessings. Out of sheer desperation, I went to the doctor and asked him to prescribe me a strong dose of medicine so that I could gather the strength to go there. According to him, I had severe chest congestion, and I was given intravenous Derifilin, to which I reacted very badly. As I left, I felt numbness in my arms, hands, and face. I thought I'd be fine, but it got progressively worse after I reached Uttar metro station. Then I called up my mother and told her what I was going through. I went back immediately to the hospital, but I refused. No, she needed to take me back to the hospital, but I refused as I really longed to go to Bade Mandir. When I reached, I was standing in the queue to go inside the Mahasamadhi when my condition worsened. I told one of the uncles that I really needed assistance, as I had a feeling that I was going to collapse. My heart was beating 10 times faster than usual. My hand and face was numb. There was no blood circulation at all, and I was pale. I felt the paralytic stroke. Uncle Ji made me sit near Guruji's Masamadhi and gave me Amrit to drink. In the same time, he made an announcement for a doctor. I still insisted on going into the Masamadhi room to seek Guruji's blessings. When I went inside, one of the aunties approached me and gave me a leaf to eat and swallow. I have no clue who she was, and nobody ever saw her. My senses came to a standstill. My brain had stopped working, and I could feel the life force was leaving my body. But while all this was happening, I was still able to move my limbs and could speak clearly. Guruji saved me from an imminent disaster. I went into the hall, was made to sit right in front, and I cried inconsolably because my condition was deteriorating with the passage of time. But all this while, I could see Guruji smiling at me and sending me messages that I would be fine. After 30 minutes, I left the hall, sat outside the washroom on a chair, and then a couple took me to the clinic. On the way, I vividly felt Guruji holding my hand and healing me. This was his way of blessing me and granting me a new life. I know I owe that life to Guruji, whose without grace I would have definitely collapsed that day. He came and reduced my suffering. As he said, 90% मैं ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਰਮ ਆਪਣੇ ਤੇ ਲੈ ਲੈਣਾ, 10% like a prick of a needle, you have to go through your karmas. So he saves us every time, salvages us, and reduces the intensity and the duration of whatever karma we are going through. So always know again that he doesn't let us suffer beyond a certain measure. Okay, so chapter 41. I hope you're all there still. Give me a second, please.
Yes, Auntie, very much here and enjoying each bit of it. Really grasping.
Very cold now in Delhi, so everyone has a cold, including me. So chapter 41, faith has no religion. You are an ever blissful soul, born to a rich heritage, which is yours for the asking. Only many of you do not ask. Have faith in your destiny and work gladly to attain it. Whatever we need or want or whatever, we need to work towards it. We cannot take Guruji for granted. We must take that first step for him to take 1,000 towards us. Sanjeev had planned, my brother, to host a 4-night stay in Singapore with 40 of his friends along with his siblings. It was his 40th birthday. Therefore, 40 friends, and all of them in Singapore. My health, however, at this juncture became a concern to me. And in my head, I questioned Guruji if all was well with me. My weight gain, my weariness were a clear reflection of the malady within me. Even though I was dragging my feet everywhere, my faith and my willpower were kept afloat. Guruji never allows his devotee to drown, no matter how deep the troubled waters. My cousin Hapu and I planned to celebrate Sanjeev's birthday by holding a satsang at his place before we all took off for Singapore to celebrate the special occasion with family and friends. Puneet Khurana back then, the renowned singer, filled Sanjeev's place with mellifluous voice as our hearts were filled with gladness and gratitude. I was overwhelmed as I had prayed to Guruji in Manchester to make this satsang possible. It was awe-inspiring as energy pervaded the room, the home, the temple of our bodies, the souls, and the lives of those who were there and those who weren't. Like Guruji says, I touch everyone's lives in your family, your extended family, your neighbors, and your friends. His grace filled every molecule of our beings. And it was up to us, as it always is, to acknowledge it and to bow before him with deep reverence and ever-growing gratitude, always in gratitude. I met Madhulida Madhulija Sood, known as Mita, among her friends at various satsangs, and then I met her again at her place. She shared an incredible satsang of a Muslim laborer. Faith has no religion, color, caste, costume. Faith is universal, and it requires only an open heart coupled with an open mind. So here is a satsang by Mita. This is a satsang of a very ordinary person of the Guru Sangha, which is what makes it so extraordinary in the first place. And for those who wonder whether Guruji is still present among us, this small piece of writing will serve as a reassurance of his presence and omnipresence, his grace and his watchful eye over our lives. There was this poor, hard-working mason, or rather still is, working at a Guru Sangat's house, doing a paint job. Every day during lunch, he observed that the family served lunch to a bold man's photograph, bowed their heads before him in prayer, and only after that would they proceed to eat from their plates. He wondered who this person in the photograph was and why he was revered so much. On being told about Guruji's grace in the Bade Mandir, he at once decided that he should pay him a visit at least once, not knowing that Guruji was no longer in the physical garb. But being a Muslim, he doubted whether anyone would allow him to step inside the Bade Mandir, let alone meet the Guru. But in the following days, he had a dream in which Guruji assured him that he had talked to someone inside the temple and that no one would come in his way. Not sure whether this was a message or a sign, he followed his instinct and accompanied the employer and his family to Bade Mandir. At the entrance to the temple, he saw a familiar face, a face that he had seen Guruji talking to in his dream, asking him to allow the mason inside the temple. The mason walked in, bowed his head before the Samadhi and the Shiv Murti, the Gaddi, and then the golden Shiv Murti inside the hall. Following what the other members of the Guru Sangat were doing. At the rear of the main temple building, he received samosa and chai prasad. And as he ate, he tried to understand the satsangs that were being shared. A while later, he decided to wander about in the temple. He saw Guruji clearly, swinging on the jhula, and a girl at his feet making a rangoli of flowers on the floor. The mason quickly went and sat near Guruji's feet. Guruji reached out into the air and gave the laddu prasad that appeared to the mason. The mason ate the prasad and on finishing was given another one by Guruji. This time, the mason put it in his pocket for his children and wife. A few moments later, Guruji told the mason to keep coming to the temple, and he started feeling dizzy and blacked out. A few minutes later, when the mason regained consciousness, he saw that Guruji wasn't there, and he went back to the rear of the main temple building. When the mason bowed his head there, he saw Guruji sitting inside in a white chola. He tried entering, but Guruji stopped him. And that's when the mason asked Guruji, "I am a poor man, but will you come to my humble home?" Guruji smiled, and from what I've been told, said, "Kamlir, ja aish kar." No one believed the mason when he told everyone he talked to Guruji. But when he talked about the Akant Prasad, all doubts were put to rest. The mason tells us today that the pain in his limbs that used to nearly kill him every day, the pain he tried to benumb with alcohol, hasn't bothered him ever since he had the Akant Prasad. His home now has Guruji's fragrance in every nook and corner. He says that he has found his God in his Guru. How beautiful. So Guruji always breaks the barriers of religion, of our prejudices or biases. He breaks us and makes us whole and one with the entire universe. So that oneness, to understand that we are all one, is what's important. So if I may, it's literally like 2 pages, if we can.
Yes, Auntie,
Are we all
please.
there still?
Yes,
Not
yes, yes.
sleeping?
No, no, not at all.
Travel satsang, always my favorite since I'm a traveler. Happiness is a journey and not the destination. So enjoy the ride with Guruji walking abreast. After hearing many inspiring satsangs, my family and I prepared ourselves for Sanjeev's 40th birthday celebrations. Before nice, I was wondering in my head if I would be able to cope with the travel, with my mounting weakness and weariness. And then I wondered if there was any Sangat in Singapore. When Olga Bhatia texted me a contact within seconds. After the blessed and most memorable merriments of Sanjeev's 40th birthday, I visited the Sangat in Singapore with Sabina Dan from Manchester and Sangat Amit Bhasin from Delhi. It was a real delight meeting Rana at his place where he diligently and devoutly holds Guruji's satsangs every Monday. The purity in the Sangat's practice of holding satsangs is another level overseas. Their love is truly unconditional as they allow Guruji to drive their life's vehicle without interfering. As we chatted endlessly about Guruji's grace, I inhaled the aroma of Langar Prasad. On foreign soil, particularly eating langar, is a real blessing. And we all ate like there was no tomorrow. Most satisfied, we wore a radiant smile of gratitude as we waved goodbye to the most hospitable Sangat before heading back to our hotel. I crave for Langar Prasad and Halwa Prasad anywhere and everywhere in the world, especially since Guruji has paved the way for me to travel and do satsangs wherever I go. He renders me the reassurance that he travels with me, no matter where I go, as I never feel alone or lonely on my trips. Initially, loneliness was set in, but then he would shower me with love in abundance as a reassurance, and now my journeys are plain sailing. My all-time favorite cuisine is honestly Langar Prashan, and it surpasses any other meal the world over. It is both curative and heartwarming. What more can we ask for? What was brought home to me once I was alone in my room and had time for reflection is how deeply and greatly blessed I was, and how greatly my life's canvas had transformed since being accepted in Guruji's fold. I was comfortable in my own skin now and could hold my own without feeling self conscious. Guruji kept wheels under my heels, so I traveled far and wide to fulfill my personal joys while I did the seva of sharing satsangs. My body, however, at this point was giving me clear signs that something was amiss. And Guruji was, I'm sure, healing me through the extensive travel that I was doing in the past 1.5 years. But I knew something was terribly wrong. But I guess I attributed my fatigue to my hysterectomy last year. Post surgery in May 2011, my energy level dipped remarkably, and it was getting progressively worse. My eternal faith in Guruji also assured me that he was protecting me so that nothing appalling would ever happen. When I returned to Delhi, to my home, refurbished by another Sangat, Asta Chopra, Guruji's staunch devotee, she became my third daughter and friend who embellished my home daily with her presence. Meanwhile, my soul sister, Sumi, insisted that I consult a physician, as she now could see the visible signs of my fatigue. I again neglected it, as after a week of my return from Singapore, I flew to Florence, Italy to meet Sonakshi, my younger daughter. Sonakshi and I spent incredible, memorable moments in Florence, where she cooked my favorite meal of salmon, broccoli, and spinach. We walked and talked through the Piazza del Duomo, shopped a little, and had coffee by the river while she showed off her fluent Italian to the locals. I couldn't have been proud and happier as I observed my daughter's overflowing confidence. It filled me with deep gratitude, knowing that all three of us have come so far after my divorce. I thanked Guruji in my heart while she booked us for 4 nights in Malta at the Intercontinental in St. Julian. Sunakshi taking center stage and taking the driver's seat made me even prouder. The two of us visited the scenic Camino Blue Lagoon, a stunning island with caves and aqua blue sea. The entire trip was blessed and beautiful, other than, of course, my fatigue that now began to really weigh me down. Sunakshi always lifted me with her humor, but she also gently nudged me to return to India to go for a routine health check, as she also noticed my weariness. My growing waistline, despite my careful diet, also just suggested something was wrong. However, we still managed to enjoy every moment. I savored the renowned soup from Tuscany, Ribollita, at the Piazza del Repubblica, while waiting for my daughter to return from her class in Florence. And then on the last day, I headed back to Delhi the following morning. Guruji Maharaj had protected me throughout my trip, as always, and he had filled me with an ever-growing gratitude for love and life that I found in people and places, no matter where I was in the world. I had understood through all my life's experiences and learning that happiness resides only here and now. I sat alone in a cafeteria with Guruji in my heart, knowing full well that savoring this moment would never have been possible without his eternal grace. Sonakshi and I sat outside the Savoy Hotel for a high tea in the blazing sun, chatting and cheering each up, knowing that we were parting ways the following morning. We both missed the presence of Anishka and called her up in LA and shared our sentiments with her and reassured her that she was very much with us in spirit and we never ceased to discuss her. Both happiness and sadness settled on our sunlit faces, and we embraced the moment, knowing that we were going to soon part ways. Again, I thanked Guruji in my heart and prayed to him to sow the seed of the desire to visit his temple in my daughters. I wanted them to connect. As a mother, I always wanted them to have their own connectivity with Guruji. And I know that one day he would grant me this happiness too. With lifelong memories in my luggage, I headed back to Delhi, where my mother awaited me, as did much more regarding my health. So that's it for today. I think tomorrow is another beautiful day and a beautiful reading with so much to learn. I think, no matter what we're going through, he gives us a very strong willpower to carry on. And it's amazing that I was not well, but I still made it to Singapore, I made it to Florence, and then back to Delhi. Today, I could not do so much, but that was in 2011, many moons ago. And then when I came back to Delhi, of course, there was some not so good news awaiting me regarding my health. But it's all been a part of an incredible journey, I would say. Why incredible? Because without the lows, we never appreciate the highs. So the lows are equally important as the highs because it keeps us grounded, keeps us humble. Like Guruji said, Nivyano fal lagda. It keeps us compassionate towards others also, keeps us patient, and keeps us connected, most importantly, to our Guruji Maharaj. When I say connected, we do the part and let him play the part. So Jai Guruji, thank you again and see you tomorrow.